Hey everyone, Skull902 back here once again for Sonic Mania. This is the finale, part 12, and we are going to be going into the final zone here, Titanic Monarch. This definitely evokes the feeling of a final zone. It's got all the trappings and definitely the look, which is something I actually have to compliment. I didn't notice this really until doing the commentary with Rageplay comms. Back a couple years ago. But it was pointed out to me by Jesse, one of the commentators there, that there are a lot of areas in Titanic Monarch here that are modeled after, like, cathedrals, which I think is actually a very nice aesthetic. Because, let me tell you folks, cathedrals look fucking cool. So... Again, you're going to be running into a lot of spikes and these, type enemies that can really do some damage to you. Some of them are annoying. They've got gimmicks like this sort of weird stair type platform from Death Egg Zone and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's some interesting stuff, and I'm glad to be showing it off to you here today. So, one subject I can mention while, I'm just trying to remember other things to mention for this zone, is that Sonic Mania is the first Sonic game, actually, to run in native 4K resolution on consoles. I believe it was the PS4 Pro version. So Sonic Mania is a bit of a historic game for that reason. Aside from, of course, being an anniversary celebration, that's definitely one thing about it. So yeah, you get that nice crisp detail with well, I mean, if you play the game in any resolution with the right sort of video cables, you can get a good picture out of this. But for the PS4 Pro specifically, this game runs in native 4K and is, like I said, the first Sonic game to run native 4K. So that's pretty neato. I kind of made a mistake last time. Now that I'm actually like seeing the background here, I made a bit of a mistake with the location of this zone. I said that we were going inside the giant robot, which we still are. We're gonna get inside it. I apologize for that. That was so immature. But it's the second act that's the inside, so my apologies for getting something wrong in an LP, especially being the person that I am. I know you've come to expect no mistakes in commentary from Skull902, but it happens. Let me tell you, it happens. There's an achievement in Titanic Monarch Act 1 here that involves not getting hit. And I believe, had I not already had the achievement, I would actually have gotten it with this playthrough. Like I meet the requirement for it. But the achievement is to not get hit, essentially. So, that can be a bit of a thing. Going through this entire act without taking a single hit, because I mean, look at it, man. It's got these fucking things from the Sonic 3 bonus stage, which is a really nice touch. Or one of the Sonic 3 bonus stages, I should say. It's got this fucker. Can you imagine trying to go through this act without taking a hit from this motherfucker, the Crimson Eye, who acts just as he does in Sonic and Knuckles for the first phase, and then it's an elevator type thing. So the elevator can either go down or up. When it goes up, your jump height is decreased. When it goes down, your jump height is increased. So, goddamn. Also, there's the danger of a time over, because this is one of the longer zones in general in the game. Of course, that's completely mitigated when you have Supersonic. Let me tell you, there are benefits to being a player like me and just whoring Supersonic for all he's worth. That achievement is definitely one of them. I suppose if you don't give a fuck about achievements, then that's one thing, and, you know, all the more power to you. But for people who do care about achievements and whatnot, that's an easy way to get this one, is if you know your level design, and, you know, if you're able to get 50 rings, essentially, you know, that's how you do it. And you can see some of the cathedral type stuff there. You know, we've got murals of the Chaos Emeralds and you know, the Hard-Boiled Heavies. We saw Eggman too in like stained glass windows. That's an aesthetic. Like, again, I have to say, that's an aesthetic that I really fucking enjoy. So good stuff on the art team, you know, for doing that. It's a nice look. I really like it. So essentially, the gimmick of Act 2 for this, and I apologize for causing any disorienting there, because I know that happens to me sometimes when you fall from a large enough height and then like you go through the teleporters. Anyway, there's like 4 mini acts that you have to go through in order to unlock the boss battle. In order to access the portal that leads you into the boss battle, I should say. And for the most part, they're actually pretty manageable, I would say. Like, not for a first-time playthrough, of course, but you know, once you've beaten the game and whatnot, I don't think I really had a problem too much with this before then. What I try to do is, you know, just maintain my shield for as long as I absolutely can. Didn't quite do a great job of that there. And I know there's an electric shield you can get later as well. But, oh well. So I try to keep my shield and like try to not use Supersonic for a while. In fact, like after I got hit, I told myself, okay, just wait until you have like 100 rings, and then things should be fine. Because there are parts like this where you're just bouncing around, so that's not too bad, I would think. But, you know, otherwise, it's not actually that bad of a road until, you know, the boss battle, which is something I can appreciate. The fourth phase that I go through, you can choose to do any of these in any order. It's like Mega Man in that respect. But there's only one of these that I would consider like kind of a bitch to actually go through. So again, very nice and considerate of our pals Taxman and Stealth to do that, even though they weren't the only people involved in the level design. Those electric enemies, if I have to say anything, they can be bastards sometimes. And these guys that I just killed with Supersonic here, they can be a little scary. Like even if I don't get hit by them very much, you know, like it's a bit of a timing thing, which I've found I've described a lot of things as a timing thing lately. But they'll surround you with this shield, and it gets like smaller and smaller and smaller, and then like you know, if you let it expire, it hurts you. Unless of course you have Supersonic like I do. They also brought back the ball hog enemy from Sonic 1, which I thought was cool. You know, get a little bit of scrap brain zone in there. I mean, hey, this is a final zone after all, so why the hell not? it's a fun level, I think. You got all these things going on, like the EggRobo transporting you here. Good stuff. Especially once you learn the level, like I said. You know, there are going to be moments where like it requires you to go through a portal and you have to guess which portal it is. It's challenging, but it's like the good kind of challenging, I would think. So yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say about it. As far as like the level design and everything goes, I'm essentially just repeating myself now. So instead, I guess one more thing I can say about it is that this particular section is definitely much more vertical than the others. So, you know, I guess it's kind of like Sonic CD in that way, but now we're here, we can talk about the final boss. Let's take on this motherfucker. He can't stand Super Sonic. Oh no, yeah, what happened was, I really don't know what went wrong, because usually if, you know, I had 80 some rings when I got in here. I definitely would have been able to take him down. But I guess this is the game's punishment for me whoring Super Sonic so much. I ran out of rings, essentially. That's the simple truth of it, is I ran out of rings and I wasn't able to get enough hits in time. So what Robotnik will do is he'll bounce around, and he's got like these 4 cables connected to his machine. And what you're trying to do is get rid of all of them, and it can kind of be hard because he'll electrocute them, and if you're not in the right place at the right time, you know, the cables will electrocute you, and you don't really have a chance to hit him. So you definitely, I don't think it like really matters what order. Like I think the order is random which cable disappears, but essentially you got to know the timing. And you know, right before he starts electrocuting, there's a moment where he'll sort of pause, and then you can jump up and try to hit him on top. Essentially, that's what I'm doing. Then he'll summon like these hands with the Phantom Ruby that transport you to like some sort of mini boss battle with one of the Hard-Boiled Heavies. There are variations for the Rider, the Magician, and the other 2 that I'm forgetting their names right now. So the one that's missing is the King. The one that's missing is the King. So you've got Rider, you've got Magician here. With Magician, it's like one of these types of guessing games. It's actually the shortest one. You know, you got Gunner, and then you have Shinobi as well. There, I remember their names. But if you can make it through all of that and beat them, there you go. You've beaten the game. That is, of course, if you don't have the complete set of the Chaos Emeralds, in which case it will actually take you to the old classic Super Sonic exclusive level, which in the level select is called Egg Reverie Zone. So this is essentially a double boss fight. Eggman and the Heavy King are now trying to fight over control of the Phantom Ruby, and you as Super Sonic have to put a stop to both of them. I kind of like calling this one debug mode zone because the timer keeps like fucking up. That's obviously on purpose. You know, good stuff. Something you don't actually see is at the beginning, Sonic gets an electric shield while he turns into Super Sonic. And there are a bunch of rings floating around, and something that I would try to say as like a strategy for this is stick to the bottom. Absolutely stick to the bottom, because the rings sort of gravitate more so to the bottom, and it's actually, in my opinion, it's easier to try and hit these guys from the bottom than it is when you're flying around. Heavy King is the only one that can actively like hurt Supersonic in such a way that it drains his rings. I think Eggman has a charge attack that can do the same thing, but it takes forever. Like you'll hit Eggman before he even attempts to do that attack on you. Heavy King, however, these like laser attacks, these energy balls that he shoots at you can do you damage. I think it does 10 rings worth of damage. Something else that can drain your rings quicker is, I only ever do this by accident because it's not a move that's worth using in my opinion, but Supersonic has a charge attack, and that will cost you 5 rings. So essentially, like I said, just stick to the bottom, and both of these guys take 8 hits if I'm not mistaken. So just try to, you know, outlast the Heavy King's attacks. And eventually there will be an opening for you to just jump right in and hit him. Eggman is like no challenge whatsoever. He only really swats at you, and even then you get ample opportunity to hit him. And again, you can just like keep Eggman around and just farm rings if you really want to. So again, I actually quite like this boss battle. Though it definitely kind of lacks in the challenge. I will say that. Maybe that's why I like it so much, because I'm such a shit gamer. But, you know, Heavy King's down, and now so is Eggman. So, Sonic has saved the day, essentially, but oh my, what's going on? Well, here's the final cutscene, folks. That's right, it's a sequel hook to Sonic Forces. You'll notice at the end, Sonic is actually doing the same pose in the end screen that he's doing in the Sonic Forces reveal trailer. So yeah, this game leads right into Sonic Forces, which I have no idea when I'll be playing, if I do ever play it. But that was a fun little reference there. And so Sonic has saved the day, but now he's out of his own dimension. So ooh. It seems like the continuity now is that classic and modern are in 2 different dimensions, and it's a really tough thing to try and explain. And if I ever do Sonic Forces, I'll get into that subject. You know, when it's more overtly mentioned there. But yeah, that's the end of Sonic Mania. Like I said, you know, Sonic's off to the modern dimension to deal with Forces storyline. God rest his soul, because goddamn, that game is so weak in terms of story. But this game is absolutely fantastic, and that's what I want to get into now, is just my final thoughts and opinions on this game. You know, it's worthy, is what I'll say. It is worthy of the sort of reputation and stuff that the classic games have gotten for themselves. I'm not the type of person who agrees with the mindset that it seems like a lot of people have gotten it into their heads that this game is absolutely 100% 10 out of 10 perfect. You know, I don't think that. I don't think that it's a perfect game. I don't think that it's a game that's so good that its problems are minor and completely forgivable. You know, it's not a 10 out of 10 game to me. It's like an 8 out of 10. It's a great game. It's a really fun experience. Kind of tires me out after a little while because it's 2.5 hours long, just straight playing beginning to end. But it's definitely an enjoyable game. I do think it's missing some of the things from like the original classic games that could have made it better. Like 3 and Knuckles, for instance, just for comparison's sake, off the top of my head, I rated this one an 8 out of 10. 3 and K would be like a 9.5. So, like, again, it's definitely a good, close emulation of what the classic games were. Could have been a little more, but what they did was, absolutely fantastic. And, with the gameplay and the level design and stuff, I mostly don't have problems with that. The bosses definitely, though, were weak. In my opinion, a lot of the bosses just weren't fun to play. And there's some quirks that I've mentioned here and there that I think could have been done better, or implemented better, that they just could have improved, but didn't. But again, it's not in abundance, right? It's not so much that it completely ruins the game. This game is far more good than it is bad. It is a great game. I would definitely have this as like my second or third favorite of the classic type games, above Sonic 1 and above Sonic 2. For sure. All these people here did an absolutely fantastic job doing this, and I'm completely and totally in support of a sequel. What this game did for Sonic, I think that it was like a bit of a pick-me-up. Like the sort of pick-me-up that Sonic fans really needed. Because, after Lost World, after the Boom games and stuff, it had been quite some time since Sonic fans had gotten a legitimately great game. Not since the release of Generations. And, despite what fucking IGN said, that, Sonic was never good when this game was revealed and whatnot. In spite of that, and in spite of, Sonic's track record in the 2010s up to this point, they seriously delivered. They seriously delivered with this game. This is an absolutely fantastic, great game, like I've said, multiple times before. Again, it feels like the pick-me-up that Sonic fans needed. Of course, that was mitigated with the release of Forces later on. But, for that couple of months, it was really cool to see, mainstream faith in Sonic being restored after, the franchise had been such a laughingstock for so long. And I will forever be grateful to the people who made this game for that happening. And it wasn't just the game either. Of course, the game is the complete and total vast majority of all these comments that I'm making. But they did it absolutely right with the game. They did it with the marketing, all the extra material and whatnot. This game is fantastic. It's just the pick-me-up that Sonic fans needed. And I'm absolutely grateful that we have this game. It's for me personally, it's the first Sonic game that I ever played in release year. I had my first playthrough in December of 2017, almost 4 months after this game came out. And it was so unbelievably cool to be playing this game when it was so new. I only ever got that before with Generations, which I got about 6 months after it came out, but this was the same year that it came out, and to be able to experience a lot of the things that people had been saying and seeing for myself how good this game is. It was the fucking pick-me-up that I needed as far as Sonic was concerned, too. Of course, my faith in Sonic is never gonna fucking die because I'm just too big of a fanboy. But, you know, maybe with my first playthrough I didn't quite see it because I actually wasn't all that happy when I beat it because of my problems with the bosses. But, you know, as I got more skilled and better at the game, I, you know, really started appreciating what this game was and what it means to people. So, yeah, that's just about all that I have to say with Sonic Mania, is that it's a great game. It restored faith in Sonic, you know, only for a little bit, but it was, like I said plenty of times before, it was the pick-me-up that Sonic fans needed. They absolutely handled everything right about this game, except for the whole de novo thing, which I'll mention that in an extra video. And for me personally, it was cool to be able to play a Sonic game in release year and be able to sort of experience that, because I don't really do modern games, you know, because of the situation that I'm in. So it was nice to be able to get that experience while it was still new. As well. So, in summary, Sonic Mania, fantastic game. If you like the classic Sonic games, go try it. If you're interested in trying Sonic at all, this is one I would actually recommend to people who don't have that much experience with Sonic. And, you know, it's a great game. It is a great game. And I hope that everyone involved, you know, Christian Whitehead, Simon Tomley, Pagoda West Games, and everyone can get back together and, you know, work their magic again. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Sonic Mania, fucking awesome. So next time I get into a new Sonic game for an LP, it's going to be Sonic Adventure 1. At some point, and I don't know if it's going to be like another full playthrough or if it's just going to be a single video, but I will be covering the Knuckles run at some point. I don't know when. And I hope that you guys look forward to that, and I hope that you guys liked this Let's Play. So I've been rambling for far too long, and I need to, you know, skedaddle. So yeah, that's it for Sonic Mania, at least for now, until, again, the Knuckles content in the extra video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I have been Skull902. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.